This is episode 2 of How the NFL Works, and I can't think of a better guest to bring on when it comes to, looking behind that curtain on this league. And, when I first launched Go Long, Ryan, I think that was like November 2020. We probably talked early 2021. Shortly after Vincent Jackson died, you had that heartfelt video on Twitter. Just your emotions were just so real, so raw. I feel like everybody could relate to what you were feeling in that moment. And I don't think I've had a conversation with anybody quite like that one. So when we started this show at Go Long, it only made sense to reach back out to Ryan Leaf, somebody who is always going to tell you directly how the league works, the good, the bad, the ugly, because you've never been afraid to share your good, your bad, your ugly. You're brutally honest with your own life, Ryan. And I think in the process, you're saving lives for a lot of NFL players. I'm sure there's so many conversations you've had with guys after they've left the NFL, because, we see players in gold jackets. We see the Hall of Fame speeches. We see players on ESPN, NFL Network. We tragically hear about the Vincent Jacksons, but there's, 20, 30, 40,000 other guys in the middle that we really don't know what they're going through. You've been raw with that also. Thanks so much for hanging out.
Yeah, there's not 20, 30, 40,000. There's only 27,000 players ever to play in the 100 years of the NFL. That's it. So it's a small pool. It's a really small pool. And there's zero reason why any of us should be getting picked off. What's ironic is the NFL, Park Avenue, they don't I don't have any access to former players through them. Zero. They don't want me around their players. So what happened to be, and this is how karma or kismet or how things work, is I developed a relationship with the CEO of the Menninger Clinic. And the Menninger Clinic is a state-of-the-art psychiatric substance use disorder facility in Houston, Texas. And I just happened, I was at Peyton Manning's induction into the Hall of Fame in 2020 and or 2021. I can't remember what year it was, but I ran into the CEO there and we just started talking and we stayed in touch. And then a couple of years later, we came up with a plan on how I could give back, because they had just worked out a deal with the NFL Players Association, and which meant that they had the facility available to any former players. So I go down quarterly now to Houston, and I go into the facility and everything. And every time I go down, there'll be anywhere from 8 to 12 former players that are currently seeking treatment and getting the help that they need. And I have direct access to them. The access I would have never had through the NFL, because, they don't do that. They put up this facade called the NFL Legends Community, which says we are going to be there for former players. But when the shit hits the fan for any former player, if it does any damage to the shield, they distance themselves from it at all. Anything that's going bad for a player or a former player, that's when people need you the most, right? That's when they need the most support and help, and to feel like they're not alone. And so this is amazing how it's worked out. I just got back recently from Houston just last month. And again, another tangible, purposeful opportunity to actually reach out and touch a fellow NFL brother and hope and hopefully give them some hope that things can get better. Things can change and you can have the life of your dreams, and you're not wrapped up in this identity that lasts, 2.8 years on average. So it's a big deal. It's a big deal for me.
You put it perfectly a couple of years ago when you called the NFL this propaganda machine, a money printing company, right? Yeah. A marketing arm. It's all about the shield, all about perception. But why? Why do you think when shit hits the fan? I've heard this with countless former players. The league really isn't there, really isn't helping you behind the scenes. Because it's not a big number, right? It's not like it's this massive infinite number of former players.
I don't understand it.
Hard for them.
I don't understand it. I think they have enough PR issues going on. They don't want this. They also are a very, for being such a big corporation in the eyes of people, they are a small entity. There's not a lot of people that work for them. They are, and the bigger thing in all of this is, Roger Goodell is managed by 31 owners, and he does their bidding, and their bidding is to make as much money as possible. That's what they do. I do believe some of them want to win championships just because there's a competitive nature to the Billionaire Boys Club. But I also think the most important thing is there to be the most valued asset out there. And if there is anything that can do damage to that, they want it scuttled and put away and not talked about, right? Concussions are at the very forefront. The Damar Hamlin situation 2 years ago, all of those things, like they want to move on immediately. Just like when that happened, they wanted to go back right out on the field immediately. Like, let's get to the football. They basically stepped
over Damar Hamlin's body and there were football games.
Yeah.
A few days later. That is wild.
The funny thing was, so I had my own talk show for the last 2 years until our company got bought out by Fanatics Sportsbook recently. And I was pretty critical of Goodell and Troy Vincent. And I said that they should postpone games this week, utilize that bye week before the Super Bowl, allow teams to check in on one another. I didn't think anybody had a chance to really check in with each other, in particular the Buffalo Bills, right? They left Cincinnati, and all of a sudden it's it's wintertime, and they're having to deal with all of it, whether or not he's going to be healthy enough and then to go out and play. And so I was pretty critical of that. And normally I'm on Good Morning Football every week while I was in New York, and our coordinating producer got a call from Park Avenue and said, take Ryan off the broadcast this week. And I was just like, you know what? I'm okay with that. I mean, if that's their, I don't know if that's their way of trying to control things, I don't know. It's just, it was silly that they weren't able to just own up to, like, yeah, we thought this is a freak accident. We just knew what we do best, and let's go back to playing football. We made a mistake. We'll now have more data and information to do better next time. I mean, I would have loved that answer. I don't mind if you mess up. In fact, look at me. I mess up all the time. I'm just really good now at going, oh, wow, like that was old behavior me, and I'm sorry. I'm going to try to be better the next time and not make that same mistake. Do you forgive me? I think that just goes a long way, and they're just not capable. They're not capable. And, when you're fooled once, it's a, thing. And if you keep being fooled over and over and over, then that's on you. And you have to start making the decision to stand up and set healthy boundaries around those types of situations and incidents. And so, Roger's Roger. He works directly for the owners. The guy that I really kind of have the beef with is Troy Vincent. I mean, he's a former player, and he just seems like he sold his soul for all that money. I don't know if he believes he's, commissioner in waiting, because I guess, I mean, that's meaningful. It's $40+ million a year, a private plane. I mean, all the things that come with commissioner status, but I mean, he's a former player, and that's the thing that rubs me the wrong way. And I think probably rubs a lot of people the wrong way, that he does not seem like an advocate for players, which is so ironic because, he was one, and he was a very good one. And, frankly, it's a bit disgusting. And that's the biggest problem that I think I have. And I think a lot of people have. I love that they like to bring back players and have them be a part of the league in different kind of ways. I do not think having former players be the ones that have to dish out punishment is a good thing either. You're watching the John Runyon situation with Derwin James this last week. Derek Brooks holds up the appeal process, and I'm like, bro, man, you guys You guys knew what it was like to play defense back there. And now they got all these changing rules on where you got to throw your head and everything like that. And you guys are just like, no, we'll just steal all their money. We'll just take their money. It's just so odd to me that's the way it goes down there at the league.
Before we move on, though, with Troy Vincent, is he just bought and paid for then? Like, is he just a convenient mouthpiece for the league?
No, I don't think it's a convenient. Well, he's very convenient, yes. But I mean, I think he's bought and paid for. And
alrighty, everyone, to get this full episode of How the NFL Works with former NFL quarterback Ryan Leaf, just upgrade to a paid subscription. $8 a month, $50 a year will get you access to everything at Go Along. All podcasts, all stories. It's a great time to upgrade. We've got a lot planned for you for this 2024 NFL season. And wow, you are not going to want to miss what Ryan Leaf has to say about his own life, his conversations with players around the NFL, jail time, rock bottom, how he got out of it, and how he can truly make a difference today. He takes us into the underbelly of pro football. Thank you so much for considering. We'd love to have you join our community today.